Can anybody hear us?
Also open it.
We're live. Let me just. Yeah. Can anyone write in the chat if we're live or not? Let's give it a couple of seconds.
There we go. Yes, we're live.
I think we are. Hi, everyone. This is Ines. I have Sam with me today, and we are super excited to do this live. Welcome, everyone, and please interact in the chat. Today, we're talking about memes in marketing and partnerships and storytelling in general. So if you have questions regarding this, please leave them in the comment and we will take them over the live. But yeah, Sam, welcome to the live.
Thank
this
you
is the
very
first
much.
of many, hopefully. And yeah, why don't you just introduce yourself to the audience? And yeah, you have been labeled the master of memes.
Yeah. So I'm Samuel. I work here at Dreamdata. I work as a partner manager, but I've been through a few roles, both in sales and marketing. And then in my spare time or in my content creation time, I make memes for LinkedIn and for Dreamdata. And that's
Really
kind of it's kind of popped off, and even my C-levels and so on are getting on and asking me to make memes for them and so on. So I feel like I've left a cultural imprint in the company, which is pretty cool.
So tell us, how did it all start? Why did you choose memes in the first place?
Well, I'm youngish. I mean, I like to think I grew up with memes. I'm 25, and in my childhood with social media, a lot of memes were like a big part of sharing with friends and so on. And then when I joined Dreamdata, we have this social posting, social selling, whatever you want to call it, advocacy. And I joined when Laura was doing her thing and Stefan was doing his thing. And I kind of wanted my thing because I very quickly found out that if you just you can get by just doing what everyone else is doing, but if you really want to succeed and kind of get some viral posts, you have to branch out into a niche which is not covered yet. And so my colleague Sander, he had actually made some memes, and I was like, "Oh, are we allowed to post memes?" And he was like, "Yeah, why not? I mean, it's what's stopping you? People are posting all kinds of crap on LinkedIn, so why not? If people like it, they'll like it." And so I started, and then the first viral post hit, and then the second one, and the third one, and
yeah. I mean, I remember when I first joined Dreamdata, when we were talking about social selling and how to be on social, the first thing we saw is like, oh, this is the viral meme of Sam, and he's amazing in doing that. But I never really considered memes as part of marketing before joining Dreamdata. So my question is, how would you think that memes could actually be worth the investment in marketing? Wouldn't it be just like easier to focus or to invest your resources in something else that is more valuable or more secure in a way?
Yeah, so I think the realistic question is, yes, it probably is a lot more valuable to invest time elsewhere. And I think the reason for that is, especially in B2B, is that you have some corporate companies trying to do memes and so on, and then the end goal of those memes are conversions and like demo requests, and then suddenly the meme itself, you can see right through it, or like the entertainment content that you're making, the video or the song, whatever, you can see right through that the end goal is a conversion, and that ruins the whole purpose of a meme. I mean, we've all grown up with these entertainment videos and so on, and you're watching it to have a good time. You're not watching it to be converted at the end of the video and you want to click a link on Instagram to go and sign up, right? No one wants that.
It's not funny anymore.
So I think it's a really good, or you gotta have a balance between entertainment but also educating the pain points that you solve. So instead of focusing on conversion as like the goal for the meme or the video or whatever you do, then focus on actually just educating the market, about the pain points that you solve. And obviously for us, and I think for people who follow me, I do a lot on like marketing and sales, and a lot of ironic posts because, I know some of them aren't true, but it's this marketing versus sales and touch points in the journey, and marketing being left out or sales taking the credit. And obviously that's not true. And I'm not disrespecting my fellow sales
sometimes
colleagues.
We hate you a bit, but it's fine.
Yeah. But so I think it's really great if you can do it well, because it's super niche. We are running some ads, some display ads on LinkedIn using these memes and some of the most popular ones. And they have a really high engagement rate, even though that it says, sponsored LinkedIn content or whatnot.
Yeah.
And the click-through rate is also relatively high, considering what the average one is. So I think it's a really great medium if you know how to use it well. And that's another thing, due to the shareability of it as well. I think if you look at most of my memes in like the viral ones, people are literally tagging other people as if it's like TikTok or Instagram.
That's how we usually do it. Like,
right?
We're very used to memes in our own day-to-day life, right? It's like tagging or sending to your best friend or sending to your mom and dad. And it's just like super interesting to see it also happening in a professional setting.
Yeah, and that's because I think a lot of marketing people, we like to imagine that LinkedIn is still a really professional site, but I mean, it is a social media, and there's a lot of really great content out there. But we also use it as a way to just, chill out a little bit and still pretend like you're working.
It doesn't have to be boring all the time.
It doesn't have to be boring. No, exactly. But yeah, with scalability, I still think Dreamdata is paying me for my time. They are paying me, and some of that time is used to make videos, to make memes. Yeah. So I have some kind of responsibility, of course, to drive our messaging out there, to drive traffic, to drive revenue in the end. And I think that's like the key point you got to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from what I understood from your memes, at least, is that I could relate to most of them. And I think that plays a lot into the shareability of the meme and how viral it could go. Because like, you can't just stitch a picture with just a text and hope for it to be funny or hope for it to be viral in a way. But there's actually a whole thought process behind it.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to the thought process, I always send my memes out before to the people or the department that I'm kind of targeting and see their reaction. So if it's a marketing related meme, I'll send it to Stefan and I'll see what he's saying and so on. If it's a sales related meme, I'll send it to some of our sales colleagues and kind of see what they're saying, and get the reaction from the end user, or the end consumer rather.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but what are the tools that you're actually using to achieve that in a way?
So this is not sponsored, by the way, by any means.
But if you want to sponsor him.
But Kapwing is a very good tool, and you might also say it as Kapwing. That's how I used to say it, but they're Canadian, and I met with someone and they said Kapwing, and I had been saying it wrong my entire life. That's a very good tool. Really easy to format the images, put text on images or videos. Also to set up canvas sizes, so they have LinkedIn canvas sizes templated. Lots of different fonts and elements you can add to them. Very simple to use, and I'd highly recommend that. For GIFs, you can use something called gifmemes.io. It's a small guy from Reddit who made this, and he'll allow you, I think, like 10 free edits where you can put moving text on GIFs. And then you have to buy him a coffee, which is like literally $1 or $2, and then you have a count.
Oh, that's a nice business model.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure he's getting a lot of coffees, but it works really well. So gifmemes.io is really good. Canva is also another one. If you're already used to Canva and you don't want to use Kapwing, then those two can be substituted for images. Then I think another key thing is like inspiration for them. I don't come up with everything by myself. I have a lot of help from external sources, and Reddit is a really good source. There's a lot of subreddits, some even be called like meme economy.
Okay.
This is one where people post memes, and so the Redditors or the subreddit, they vote up or down whether they should invest or sell.
Okay.
And some of the cheerleader one was gotten from there, where a lot of people were saying, invest. And I also thought it was a great way to show our pain points. But then there's another one called Meme Templates Official. This is where you can also look for templates. So if you have an image that has already some meme text on it, you can post it, then people will find the template for you.
Okay.
Or you can find new templates. So you can be first mover on a meme and not post like those really old 2012 to 12 memes, right? And
the type of memes I would post, but
that's
another subject.
They have the use, right? But and then maybe finally also Giphy with a PH. That's a really good place to find reaction GIFs. So actually in Giphy, you can actually pretty much just search celebration, or you can search like failure or success, and it will give you a ton of different GIFs from a ton of different sources, like movies, YouTube videos, music videos, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can use that to kind of display a feeling or whatnot.
Yeah, I think these are awesome recommendations. Yeah, a lot of recommendations. So if you want to start your meme journey, take note. But Sam, you mentioned that you get inspired of other sources, right? But how do you choose the meme that you want to post as a company or as an employee? How do you make sure that you're choosing a meme that is professional in a way?
So I think this comes down to do with taste. And I showed a video from Vimeo to a lot of my colleagues whenever they ask about like creativity and so on. But the big thing about creativity is to do with your own taste of the content you produce. And in the beginning, you probably know that those videos you're creating, or that text post that you're creating, or that meme, it's not good enough. Like you're forcing it. But you have good taste. So that's a really good indicator that when you do stumble upon something you think, actually this is awesome, right? Yeah. Then you think, okay, this I can post and this will be big, and you're quite confident in it. You feel it, right? Yeah. But that's not to say that sometimes what I feel like I'm really confident in, I'm like, this is gonna be huge, falls flat on its face. Yeah. And then other ones where I'm like, you know what, this is just to kind of fill my pipeline and keep being out there, that pops off. So it's also like a fine line of just consistently creating good quality content. Yeah. It doesn't have to be great all the time. It's not going to be great, but like a bar that you want to set. You don't want to just post to post, Yeah. I think that's
because you're running the risk of it could go viral. It could just be that. So you have to kind of play on the consistency part. Yeah. Like keep showing up. And I think you already noticed this because people actually recognize you from the posts that you have on LinkedIn. It's like, oh, you make these memes. And you even mentioned to me that on some sales calls that you have, like people are mentioning that. Yeah. I think that's awesome. And that in a way serves the purpose of the posts in general.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's all about building trust and again, explaining our pain points, but in a funny way or in an entertaining way, because it doesn't have to be boring. And, marketing and sales might hate each other, but that's in an ironic way, right? I mean, we can all have a good laugh about ourselves. I think that's the most healthy.
Yeah. I think we could use some fun.
Right? I mean, it's a dark world.
Yeah. But how do you tie it all to some quantifiable things? Yeah. Because after all, we're working, right? And you mentioned that you're getting paid partially. Yeah. Part of your job here in Dreamdata is to produce that type of content. Yeah. How can you tie it to pipeline, revenue, to conversions, to something touchable?
Yeah. So there are some benchmarks, but obviously this dark social comes into play, right? And there are things we're never going to be able to measure, but you can tie them to what we call, brand awareness, right? You can kind of put that stamp on everything you do, and it's okay. But quantifiably, you can actually look at things such as, traffic to the website, amount of events that are captured within time periods, and then lay that over, your own engagement of your posts. And you can start to see a trend of spikes in traffic as you get viral posts. It helps that we have almost a team, like an elite squad of people just absolutely being in your face constantly.
I'm pretty sure the people watching this live will relate to that.
Which is really cool because obviously they're sticking around. So obviously I think they like what they see. But these 5 people posting 6, 7, 8, that kind of forces these spikes in traffic. And that's one way to tie it together. And one of our first benchmarks when we started doing this whole project was reaching 500,000 total views on our post, right? And then we thought into, okay, well, how about if we map that to amount of MQLs or signups being generated during these viral spikes? And we started to see an overlap, which is really cool. And I think that's enough quantifiable data to continue what you're doing, because there's so much non-quantifiable data that we all know and kind of breathe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we can share some of the graph that you actually made. Let's see if this works, actually. Oh my God. Can people actually see my screen?
I think they should be able to. You just got to click slideshow.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is in the bottom, we have my own content performance over the last 365 days. But a lot of our colleagues' graphs look very similar with these sudden spikes in engagement rates and so on. Laura's I was not able to use because she had a spike up to like almost 1 million, and that kind of just screwed the whole graph up because the y-axis was so large, so that was a difficult one to use. But then on the top here we have our views on our website, and this is just our website, dreamdata.io, the blog page, and some integration pages and so on, but just our website, none of our app. And here we can already start to see that in some periods where there are spikes, it is influencing also the website views. But what I think is more interesting is in the next page, we're showing the events over time that are happening on our webpage. And these events being either people downloading ebooks, submitting a form for a call, or signing up for free. And it is a little bit of grasping at branches which maybe aren't there, but in some way this is to identify some spikes. And notably as well in October, right?
Here.
Yeah, exactly. We had a big spike, not only me, but also I think Stefan had a big post, Laura had a big post, and you also had a big post. And that would also, influence these signups coming in. So it's not entirely like I would never say 100% certainty. Yes, this is the answer, but it's part of the reason.
Yeah, I think that's also an awesome way to show that we started this experiment of using memes in marketing, and we can actually tie it to something that we can see as like signups or as just traffic. And that alone, I mean, could be an indication that, this is worth exploring at least.
I mean, what we can also track is the social traffic. So from people that have gone on LinkedIn, gone on your company page, and then clicked a link from the company page leading over to an external domain like the website or so on. That's trackable, right? And then there we're also getting a lot of traffic in. So as you should be getting more and more followers, that page should also be, getting bigger and bigger, and thus generating more traffic.
Yeah, makes complete sense. Cool. You mentioned that you use irony in your in your memes, and that obviously tells a story how marketing hates sales or sales hate marketing. But what's your take on storytelling in general? Because through memes, you are telling a scenario, right? You're giving something back. So how do you think storytelling can affect marketing, or how should it be in a way?
So I think this is like a broad thing, not just for memes, but any kind of entertainment, and marketing should be some form of that. And I think the key thing is with storytelling, it should be something that's relatable. So we spoke earlier about this, but actually targeting functions. So a typical sales problem, a typical marketing problem, a typical combined problem, a typical scenario of like for example, one of my favorite ones is the Tom Hardy one, where making memes at work, and then the product team is just like, what the is he doing, right? And I sit right next to product, and we do have a few of those looks, and it is exactly like that. And I'm thinking, people will probably relate because marketing people like memes, and the product kind of is I'm sure they like memes, but they like different memes, right?
Different type of memes.
They probably wouldn't find my memes as funny as they would find something on like Reddit's program of humor, where it's a very big community.
I think the way you do it is very interesting because you always check with us. If you're making a sales meme or a marketing, you always ask for feedback. Like, is this funny? Does it hurt? Like, yeah, it hurts. So thank you for reminding me. And I think that's a great way because you're actually listening to your target audience. And that's kind of the way to create relatable memes. So I think that's kind of an interesting creative process in a way.
And I think that it's a fundamental of marketing, right? Listening to your audience first.
Stefan should be proud.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. But yeah, I think in regards to storytelling, it's extremely important. Get something that you've experienced and others have experienced, and it will be big.
Yeah. Except that in social, it's not always big.
No, that's true.
There is the dark side of it, and I could tell from my personal story when I started posting on LinkedIn, and the posts did not get the engagement that I was hoping for. You get a bit bummed, and you're like, okay, maybe I should stop doing this, or even the fear of just posting something, and you're like, would it be too much for LinkedIn? Would people actually react to this? So how do you deal with that? How do you see the failure, let's say?
Yeah, it sucks. It does suck, and it should suck. This is, again, bringing it back to, like, taste, right?
Yeah.
It should feel bad because you should think, like, this was good. Like,
you
I'm
put your
ashamed.
heart and soul into it. Yeah.
But you should not give up. Like, it's a good drive to have. And sometimes the day just doesn't, like, fit with you. Like, I sometimes think LinkedIn has this hidden algorithm, and sometimes it just doesn't boost your post or whatever.
No.
And of course, it's a scary part about, like, putting yourself vulnerably out there, taking a step out of this normal. Here are 7 things you should do as a B2B marketer. Like, you can get your AI to generate that for you, but actually taking a step out of that and doing something that's more personal, that's more you, that has much higher rewards when it actually does come off. And I think people respect that.
Yeah.
I hope so. People should respect it. Being unique is good.
Yeah.
Especially if you do it, and you can see there's effort involved, and it's not just being unique to be random, edgy or random or something, right? There are also things out of your control in regards to, like, macro environmental factors, right? That you also need to consider that maybe people aren't spending time on or want to waste time on looking at videos and watching your whole video because it's a 2-minute video, and that's 2 minutes out of the day when they got to focus on something else.
Absolutely. I think that's just like the dark side of being active on social, and you have to accept that there's a 50-50 chance that this one would go good, this one you have to accept the idea that you can't have, like, viral posts every time, and it's okay.
I mean, I kept thinking that I hit my peak like 5 or 6 times now.
It keeps going,
and it keeps going, which is really cool. But you gotta stay grounded as well. You don't want to get too ahead of yourself.
No,
I'm really not trying to. But it's tough dealing with failure, especially on a media platform. But it gets better with time.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say, like, to quote Laura here, it's like on LinkedIn, literally no one cares, and sometimes I beat myself up because of a post. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done it that way, or I should have done it. But then I remember it's like people actually don't care.
Yeah,
we're in a times where it's like people scroll, they move on with their life, they might remember some of the post if it's like an informative post, but they don't really care that much, so
they'll
just
forget,
chill and take it easy, I guess.
Yeah.
Awesome. If we have some questions in the chat, this is the time to respond. If you have that, just drop it in the comments. But other than that, I think, Sam, if you can give advice to people that want to start with memes or considering memes, either as a company or as an employee, what would that be?
Look for feedback and look for honest feedback from your colleagues that are kind of, I don't want to say woke because that's not the right word, but that are engaged in, like, that either use TikTok or they use a lot of Instagram or they use Reddit or whatever, like that are, aware of pop culture. And ask them and ask them to be brutally honest, because the last thing you want to do is to make these cringy corporate memes that affect your brand in a negative way. I remember the brands I've seen that have targeted ads towards me that are memes, and they're just, it looks like an AI has generated them, right? So I think look for constructive feedback and look for like brutal, honest feedback will be good.
Yeah, I think so too. Stefan is saying that we're using memes ourselves in our paid ads.
Yeah.
Like,
so
how does that experience is going so far?
Yeah, so I quickly touched upon that, but we run some display ads on LinkedIn, some image ads there with a little, I think, a portfolio of around 5 memes or so.
Yeah.
But again, these memes are very targeted or towards the pain points that we solve. And they have a really extremely high engagement rate, quite a high click-through rate, and they're proving to be a really nice addition to and parallel to our other normal activities.
Yeah.
I think this is also maybe a key thing to say, is that it's not like our strategy is just like pump out a shit ton of memes. No. It's it's in parallel to a lot of other demand generation activities like you and Laura and other people are doing, and other paid activities that we're doing. It's a touch point, and if we can take 2 or 3 touch points or 10 touch points out of that journey, which maybe has 100 touch points, those being memes which took me 10 minutes to make, then that's fantastic. That's an insane return on investment, right?
Yeah.
Then we multiply that by 7 people. What are we now? That post
7
actively,
people
actively,
right? Yeah.
And suddenly you have 70% of the journey being
covered by social. Yeah, covered by social.
Yeah. Of course, the math doesn't add up like that, but
no.
But yeah, the idea is there.
I think that's really interesting, and for me at least, I didn't know that this could be possible in a professional setting. I always considered meme to be something that I would share with my friends and my family, and it's just like super interesting to listen to this from a marketing standpoint, and it actually has a process, and you can see results from your efforts. I think that's really awesome. I think we have a final question. How about copyrights? Is it okay to use known photos or pics as memes with no worries? Or do you build your memes 100% from scratch?
That's a good question. So on the advertisement side, for the paid ad sites, it's definitely required that you should get copyright, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of an essential part. But for the personal side, I haven't had any issues in using images that have been posted because, like I said, I get them from other public sites like Reddit or Instagram Reels and so on. And it's funny because there is this gray zone with memes and copyright. Technically, it is someone's intellectual property, right?
Yeah.
But if you have if you ever find a viral video of a movie, right, like Zoolander. So
Yeah.
technically, everything that's out there is copyright. But at the end of the day, we're also pushing traffic towards that scene or that movie or that image.
Yeah.
So I think I tend to get everything from these Reddit sites
Sources,
and so on.
yeah.
I mean, if I would ever post anything where I've taken a picture of someone, I would of course get their consent, but I don't want to do that because that also breaks the meme vibe, right?
Yeah, that's actually true, because you're using scenes that are already viral in a way,
Yeah.
right? People can recognize them.
And it is from my personal account.
Yeah.
So if there's an issue, then obviously I will take it down. But I don't know if a
So far, so
little
good.
guy like me would anger Warner Bros. Or something like that.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not.
No, but I think we are on top of the hour. Thank you so much, Sam. It was really
You're
fun
welcome.
to do this
Thanks
for
for
you.
inviting me.
Yeah, and I guess follow Sam. He has really, really great content, and I guess we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. And